going to begin the classes, or the class, I should say. All right. All right, we begin each class by reading chapter 25 of the Circle 7 Holy Quran. If you are in agreement, after I finish reading, affirm by saying Islam. Oh. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers and sisters, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him out. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortune of thy father, so shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole nation, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Wow. All right, Islam. All right. I'm not going to be doing the class today, but I'm going to start it out, and I'm going to sing about what I always like to talk about, which is the right to travel, because I feel like it is, you know, one of the biggest issues, one of the major issues that we as a people have. We are not really free to move about as we ought to be, and that reason is because of our right to travel. How many people know what their liberties are? Liberties? What are your liberties? Just to do whatever you want to do as long as you don't infringe on somebody else's right. Would you say that your right to travel is a liberty? It is a liberty. Right. So now, according to the American Constitution, 1791, your liberties are unalienable, right? When it says that it's unalienable, does everybody know what that means? What does that mean? Well, more specifically, what he said is absolutely specific. Because if you go into, like, for example, if you go into any one of these meeting rooms and you say, and you're saying that my liberties are being violated, you want to be very specific. How are they violating your liberties? Converting it to a crime is that what you said? Converting it to a privilege, to the average, somebody on the other side of the world saying that, they won't know what that means. My thing, whenever I'm talking or trying to communicate so that a large body of people can comprehend what's going on, is to make it very, very simple. So if I got a writ from somebody and they said, convert it to a privilege, I wouldn't know what that meant. But if I got his writ and he said they can't charge you for it, I would understand exactly what he's talking about. And I would be wondering, well, what's going on over there on American soil that they're charging the people to move about? It would make me want to know more. And that's what you want to engender. You want people to know, well, what is going on over there? Because the more people know, specifically, the more people who know what's going on here, the quicker this issue of right to travel will be resolved. But it's 100% up to the people. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. So it is imperative that everybody knows the law, especially the sisters. Because if you notice nowadays, they're kidnapping a lot of Asiatic sons more than ever before. And they're leaving the sisters behind. And the reason for that is because, the prophet said that we would be forced to make change. And because we didn't pick up these books and start teaching ourselves law, we just sat back and watched our man or our son or our, whatever. Oh, they went out there and did it, and we didn't participate in that. So we don't know nothing. I mean, I did, but we don't know. The vast majority of women who are involved in some type of a relationship with a son, they know nothing. And they tell you, and they will tell you, oh, I leave it to him to do. No, everybody got to be on this. Everybody, especially the mothers. You asking a question? No. Have you been all around the world? Oh. It's an issue that's pretty. We don't know if it's going on all around the world, but I know for one thing, it's going on here. This is where I spend 100% of my time. Now, once I go somewhere else, and if that is an issue, it will become my issue as well. But right now, I am right here. And, for all those people who want to go over to Ethiopia or South Africa and not knocking all of those corporate constructs, there's more than enough work right here to be done. We don't have to go across any ocean and assist anyone, especially when we haven't addressed major issues right here. So we have to put our home, our backyard in order before we go looking in somebody else's backyard. So the right to travel is very serious. To me, I don't know, it's such a big scam, huge scam. Can anybody tell me why? I mean, why this whole right to travel issue is a scam? Well, that's true, but it's a little bit more deeper than that. It's a little bit more deeper than that. No, it's not that either. It's a scam. In order for you to be able to put things in writing as it relates to your issue when it comes to right to travel, it's all of our issue. I have an issue with it. You have an issue. We all got an issue with our right to travel. Why is it a scam? If you have to go from where we are now to, let's say, catch the train, how are you going to get there? If you can't travel in your own conveyance, how are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? Can you yell it out? Huh? Bus or train? Are those things free? You see the scam? You see the scam? If you have to go anywhere, you have to pay someone else to get there. You're not allowed to use your own personal property to do so. Do you see the scam? If you don't have the Federal Reserve note, you can't even think about taking a bus or a train, right? Which means you can't get from where we are now to the Port Authority to catch a train, maybe to go to work, maybe to generate some sort of compensation for your energy to take care of your family, right? Do you see the scam? This is how it has to be documented so that the whole world can see what is going on here for the people on this land. If you are being denied, you can get the car, right? You can probably purchase, because the automobile is personal property, just like a TV, just like a computer, a refrigerator, a washing machine. What's different about the automobile? Really, when you look at it, what is different about the automobile? When you buy a washing machine or a dryer or a computer, I don't know about you guys, but I know every time that I have bought any type of anything, there's always a little card in there that says, would you like to register your newly acquired property? Right? It's would you like to? It never says that I have to. It's my personal property. Why would I need to register it if I don't want to? And who am I registering it with? And what is this registration supposed to do for me that I can't do for myself? Right? So now I can buy a 60-inch flat screen TV, and I have the option to register it. But if I buy an automobile, I'm compelled to register it. And the compelling is a silent compelling, because nobody says you got to register your automobile, right? Nobody tells you before you purchase it that you have to register it, correct? And to add insult to injury, how many people know that the traffic codes are all federal?
Oh, I missed it already.
How many people know that the driver's license program and the registration program is a federal program? Now y'all know this. It's not a state program. The states get to participate. They are allowed to participate in the federal program. But who is it that stalks you on the land, forces you off the road, and makes a demand of some type of personal property? Who is it that's doing that? Who is it? Who is that? It's the government? What corporation? You have to be specific. Law is specific. A municipal corporation. Exactly. Is the municipal corporation government?
What?
No. How do you know that?
A government from being violated?
Well,
I mean,
I've never gotten a delegation of authority from Walmart, and I would never ask Walmart for a delegation of authority either. It is not really, it is our obligation to go and do the research. Who exactly is attacking you? Who is it that is truly making a demand of income? Who is it that is arresting your liberty? Your unalienable liberties. Who is it that is telling you that you must register and you must have a driving instrument and you must have insurance, and why? Who is that? Why do you say the state? The state told you that? What people that work for the state told you that? I mean, so how do you know? No. Think about it, because, see, what we're doing right now is that we're realizing that we've made some huge assumptions, right, with little to no research. Huge assumptions. And since law is specific, you cannot make assumptions, not in law. They must be factual. Must. So I've come here at least on quite a few occasions, and I had the New York City charter from the 1600s to 1700s, and we read a few pages of it. How do you know what you're dealing with? Who you're dealing with? You get their charter. You do some research. They're not hiding the fact that they are a corporation. They're not hiding it at all. How many people got cell phones? How many? Do those cell phones have internet where you can Google to your heart's content? How many have Googled New York City? Do they tell you they're a municipal corporation? They're not even hiding. They're not even hiding it. They're on the World Wide Web, telling the whole wide world, because that's what the World Wide Web means, www. The whole wide world that they are a municipal corporation. However, that same municipal corporation is the ones that have established these institutions that they call schools today that most of us have gone to and today we send our children to. And they're the ones that are not teaching anyone civics. Civics is law. If you know civics, which is the law, that makes you a civilian. If you knew civics, you would never, ever presume to call a municipal corporation government because you would know. But because we don't know, they rape the people on a daily basis. There are things that they do in certain neighborhoods on this portion of the land that they don't do where the population is modern European. I have experienced this. And it shouldn't be this way, but the only way it is like this is because the vast majority of people are absolutely asleep and content to stay that way. And then those who get a little bit of this information, instead of going after the issue of right to travel, they go after what I would call big ticket items like how to get a house, how to get a car, how to get X amount of Federal Reserve notes in a bank account. To me, there's a reason that the prophet said that there will come a day when you will see a $20 bill on the ground and you will step over it. There's a reason he said that. Because I look at these modern Europeans that act like the heirs. And they don't. I know a few modern Europeans who presume to be millionaires, because they're not. As long as we're talking about Federal Reserve notes, you're broke. All right? But they presume to be millionaires. They do not have Federal Reserve notes on them. They do not chase after Federal Reserve notes. And they do not chase after big ticket items. It is the little things that keep a millionaire, presumably a millionaire. It is the little things that keep a millionaire, like not throwing away cans, believe it or not. I broke behind throw cans away all the time, but a millionaire collects them and turns them in. It's a mental conditioning. We have to look at these things. You know, a couple years ago, I read this book. I'm really try to remember the exact title. It was the trick, something about the trick to having money, something like that. This guy Stuart Wilder. I'm not promoting his book, but one of the things that he said that stuck with me is wealth is a mental thing. It has nothing to do with what you got in your back pocket or what you got on or where you live or where you don't live. It is a mental thing. And many of the times, one of the major reasons that I feel that we as a people are in such dire state It's because we constantly focus on what we don't want instead of what we do want. How many people, if you see a penny on the ground, you'll pick it up? The reason you want to pick it up is because it is creating in your mind an attraction to wealth. If you have a couple of pennies and you throw it away, what you're telling your subconscious mind is you don't want, coins. You don't want coins. And so you will not have an attraction of coins that come to you. Chapter 1 of the Quran is like the be all that ends all. With chapter 2 just putting the final nail in the coffin, because chapter 1 tells you that man is mine. But if man is mine, would that not mean that we are creating everything with our minds? Is that not what it would mean? Does everybody agree with that, or just does Roger? That means if man is mind and everything that we are experiencing, we first created with our mind. And I would think that the one thing we need to get a grip on is our mind. But what exactly about our minds would we need to get a grip of? What is that? Years ago, I wanted a way to get people to do what I wanted them to do. And I was reading all these books, How to Win Friends, Influence People, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, all these books, to work on my mind. And what I would do is I would highlight things that spoke to me, make notations in the margin, and a couple years went by of doing that, had no more books to read, and something told me to go back. I didn't have anything left to read, so I went back and started rereading some of the books that I had read, and I looked at the things that I highlighted and the little notations in the margin, and it dawned on me that the answer that I was looking for, I already had. When I read the prophet's work, what I see is he is so trying to give us the answer to all of our challenges in this particular incarnation and dimension. If we would just let go of our ego and let that message sink in. And it's kind of a challenge. Our challenge is to let go of our ego. But it is our ego that stops us from receiving the very things that we're asking for. And, of course, there's a side of asking for what we don't want going on as well. Like if you're traveling, and I know this happened to me, I was traveling for 3 months, zooming up here and zooming back, because I'm like 2 hours north, zooming up, zooming back every single Wednesday, no problem. And I just so happened, on my way up, I decided to grab my mail out my P.O. box, jump in my conveyance, and get on the road to come up here. And so, we do it. We tell our children not to do. I'm opening mail while I'm zooming up the road and scanning it. What is this? What is this? And one of the mails that I opened was a letter from the Department of Motor Vehicles, about 6-7 years ago. And as I scanned it, it let me know that my registration on my automobile had been suspended, and this had been reported to the insurance company, and my insurance was suspended. Now, 3 months I was zooming up and zooming down, didn't know that the registration was suspended and the insurance was canceled. 3 months, no problem, no sweat, no anxiety, no perspiration, no heart palpitations, none of that. 3 months. But as soon as I read that letter, I'm scanning all around me, looking for red and blue flashing lights, trying to see 3 miles ahead and 3 miles back. And I did that continuing up and back. And when I got home, I was like, well, thank God I made it back home, no problem. But made me reflect and ask myself, why am I panicked? I was doing this for 3 months while it was suspended and didn't know. But as soon as I found out, now I am in a panic. So you know what I did? I decided I'm not registering that car. And I had to go to work on mentally reconditioning myself. And let me tell you, I was doing all sorts of things. I was playing meditation music. There's a movie called The Secret. Anybody ever saw the movie The Secret? Well, I got it on audio, 2 CDs. And I put that thing in, and I play it, and I focus on what it's saying, and not my heart beating a million miles an hour. I started writing affirmations that I would say the minute I got into the automobile, the whole time I was traveling, and then all the way back home. And I did that over and over again because what I learned was these people get you. I don't know about you guys, but I know you can get a driver's license at age 16 up north. Is that the same here? You can get a driving instrument at the age of 16 up around here. Is that the earliest you can get it? 16, all right. Well, I didn't get mine until 18, right? But look at this. From the age of 16, you're being mentally conditioned to have that driving instrument and be in a registered automobile or else. Now, I can tell you, for most of my life, I probably got pulled over 3 times. 3 times. That's some good mental conditioning, isn't it? That's some good mental conditioning. Because in all my years, I got pulled over only 3 times. One of them was an accident. So really 2. I didn't really get pulled over. I got pulled over 2 times. In all the years that I've been traveling, I got pulled over 2 times. What it said to me is that once they get that mental conditioning, have a driving license and registration, it sticks and stays. And you know what? Most people will never, ever, ever leave home without it. I can't remember who it was that I was talking to, and I got in the conveyance and was getting ready to shoot and go someplace, and they got out of the car, went back in the house. I was like, where you going? Oh, I forgot my license. We get ready to get on the street and go down, and, they will not leave home without it. I know people who, once that registration expires, that car will sit there and rot. They will never think to take it out on the road at all, not even if it is emergency. That's some mental conditioning, isn't it? They begin at 16. By the time you're 20, 25, usually you ain't leaving home without it. That's excellent mental conditioning. Our people don't test it. I don't know too many of our people that test it. I know a lot of modern Europeans, they don't give a red tail. I remember when I was working in a grocery store years ago, there was a young man, European. He used to go to work. We worked at the same grocery store. He'd come to work, never had a driving instrument, never got pulled over. But we don't take those chances. Because that mental conditioning is deep. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying think about it. This is just one area of mental conditioning that is absolutely working automatic. It's like on automatic pilot. You ain't ever going to test it. You're not even. Most of us won't even ask a question. How many people have gone to the motor vehicle department for any reason and just ask them a question? Never? Wow. I did. I went to the Department of Motor Vehicle years ago, and I asked the girl there, where is all of the rules and regulations associated with the driving instrument? Well, I think I call it driver's license. She said to me, oh, you would have to check with your state legislature. Wrong. She was so wrong because this is not a state law. This is a federal law. So why would you be checking with the state? They don't write the law. And you know what? They can't. How many people know that states can't write laws? You know why? Huh? Yeah, no, yeah. But why specifically? Remember, law is specific. Know where it says that? Article 1 of the American Constitution states that all legislative power is vested in the Congress of the United States. That's it. Excuse me? Actually, it's 1761. However, Congress is the only one that can write laws. Article 2 says that all executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. Executive power means that you can execute whatever the Congress writes, but you can't write it yourself. And that's why, how many people remember a couple of years ago, Arizona presumed to write their own immigration laws? Did you guys don't remember that? How many people remember that? Because the Fed sued the crap out of them. That was before we did the analysis of the American Constitution, so we didn't know. We was like, oh, the Feds are slapping Arizona down. We didn't know why. The reason that the Fed sued the state of Arizona for presuming to write law is because they don't have the authority to write law. Article 1, American Constitution, they can't write jack. So when they say, oh, you know, in the state of Connecticut or in the state of New York or in the state of New Jersey, you got to do this, that, and the other, they're lying. First of all, the state is just a corporation. Nobody is in there unless you're in their headquarters, which would be their Capitol building. That's the only place the state is. All right? For the municipal corporation, their headquarters is wherever their town hall is. That's the municipal corporation. All right? So now, these municipal corporations, what are they writing down exactly when they give you a ticket? What do they put down? What are they writing down? Code and statute. Right. Now, does anybody know what a statute is? Now, keep in mind that the President of the United States of America gets to execute the laws that Congress writes. So, what would a statute be? If it is written by the state, what can it only be? Be more specific. A statute, according to the Constitution, can only be how to execute the law. No, how to execute the law. However, they never told you what the law is. Anybody know what the law is that the statute is supposed to be executing? No, because statutes don't. Well, in a way, yes. What part of the Constitution would anything regarding right to travel be dealing with? Well, y'all gonna have to study your Constitution a little bit better, huh? In the Constitution, the only entity that can talk about the right to travel is the Fed. And the only thing that they can talk about is interstate commerce. That's it. Nothing else. Are you guys engaging in interstate commerce? No. You're traveling in a private capacity. Therefore, all of these statutes have nothing to do with the people. Because if you look up the word statutes in the Black Law 4th Edition Dictionary, it refers to merchant and merchandise, a commercial transaction. And the title code that the feds wrote as it relates to the right to travel is Title 49. And the purpose specified in Title 49 for the writing of the driver's license program and registration program is for interstate commerce only. It says that right in the purpose, which is Section 30101 of Title 49. But due to history, because this whole driver's license program and registration program, it began in 1887, Commerce Act. And the driver's license and registration program falls under the interstate commerce section of Title 49, has its inception in interstate commerce. So how is it that we as a people are being told by municipal corporation employees of a municipal corporation that you must register your private property and you must get a license in order to travel on the land when you're not a driver? See, because everything that they put out in this, and believe it or not, in Title 49, they give you the definition of driver. Unless you are working a job where you are getting compensated for driving, for using that automobile, you are not driving. You're traveling. It says this in Title 49. But we were never told that all of these statutes that the states are writing is administering Title 49. And Title 49 only deals with commerce and commercial activities, not going to work, not going to pick up groceries, not going to take care of your grandmother or your grandfather, or even just visiting or traveling in, around any of the holy days. A driver's license and registration has nothing to do with that type of activity. It only deals with using an automobile, which actually it becomes a motor vehicle, for the exchange of compensation for taking passengers from one point to another. That's it. Whether you're doing it as a sole proprietor or for a major corporation. Right. Exactly. So they've mentally conditioned us very well, to the point that we're policing ourselves. Because I know when I turned 16, I wasn't interested in getting a driver's license. But when I got my first car, I was interested in getting my first license. It's a girl thing. You're only required to have a license if you are, if you're picking up people and charging them any type of fee. In actuality, if you're working for, like, they got the New York Transit up here, right? New York Transit? Okay, so if you're working for the New York Transit, really, they're the ones that's supposed to be getting the driver's license, just like they pay for the insurance, right? Exactly. If you work for a corporation, a truck driver, whatever, unless that truck is yours, unless that bus is yours, the obligation to get the license and have everybody blanketed under that is supposed to be the corporations, but they impose that on you. Yes. And most of the people, most everybody I know, they have that driver's license. They can work for the transit, the subway, the whatever. They will go and get that. No one ever fights it. No one. Because the majority of people, they're like, well, I'm going to go get this license so I can get this job. Not realizing that you never needed to get that job. And here's the other thing. Okay, if you do go and get this license, well, then you need to present them with a bill to be compensated, because you didn't need that to travel on the land. But they need you to have that so you can operate their motor vehicle. So why are you the one going to get it? You don't get the insurance for their stuff. So why do you have to get the driver's license for their stuff? Well, I don't know what goes on with the police officer, but let me break that up. And police and municipal employees, so that's what he is. He's not an officer. An officer is an elected official. All right? He's a municipal employee. He works for the municipal corporation, and his job, I'm even use that. Because you know what? If somebody on the other side of the world got that and they saw a policy enforcer, they'd be like, well, what is that? I like to use words that really bring the description home, like an employee of whatever corporation, employee of New York Corporation, because you do know New York is a corporation. It's not a place. It's a corporation. So if you are attacked by any of their employees in their motor vehicle, then you ought to be describing them as an employee of New York City. Now, if somebody on the other side of the world gets that documentation, they're going to be wondering, how can an employee attack you? And why isn't that being taken care of? You see how they mentally conditioned us to think in a manner that is not beneficial to us and doesn't even tell the truth. I listen to people say, "Oh, I was incarcerated." What? You mean you was kidnapped and held prisoner? Incarcerated sounds like something you agreed to. You know, I was in the penitentiary. Most people don't know what that word means, but if you say prison and kidnap, they know exactly what you're talking about. Then they get out and they say, I was bonded out. What does that mean? No, you was extorted of some income. I don't even use the word ransom, because then people will be like, well, what they ransoming for over there? They extorted. If you look up the definition of extortion, that is what's happening. And then they send me bail bondsmen, and I'm like, wait a minute. For you to have a bond, You have to be a public servant. Why are you buying a bond? They have us so mentally conditioned that we don't know nothing. I don't care if you have a PhD, a doctorate, a bachelor's, a master's, you know nothing. Because the 9 times out of 10, if you got all those little cute initials after your name, you still running around with a driver's license and a registration. Right? Which means they're slowly bleeding you dry. I have heard people say, I just want to make enough money so that I can pay for whatever they asking for. Well, at what point do you run out of money? What if you run out of money? Because if they're constantly taking, and every year the take goes up, at some point you're going to run out of money because everybody is taking. But you think you'll be fine if you just get enough money. You're being set up if you believe that. Literally, right? You're being set up. You really think that you're going to be able to have enough money in your lifetime, pay whatever the municipal corporation is going to ask you for as it relates to that automobile, right? Because do they send y'all a tax bill every year if you have an automobile up here? No? They don't do that? So you got to pay taxes on the automobile one time. Every 2 years, register. All right, so at minimum, they're taking you for the cost of the driving instrument, the registration, and the insurance, right? Insurance in New York City got to be high as all get out. Because I don't understand how this little place can always have traffic. Always. I think it's a setup. Every block has a street light. Every block. And then you got one street going up, another street going down. So to get to down street, you got to go past 2 streets to get to the down street to go up. That's crazy. Who came up with that? That is, anyway, at minimum, they're going to take you for the driving instrument, registration, and insurance, and that's going to go up every night. If you have or as much money as you think you're going to need to pay whatever they ask, chances are you're probably going to buy a house, right? Right? You're going to buy a house. Now, with the house comes property taxes every year. I'm pretty sure that's going to go up every year. That's not including the gas, the electricity. Let's see, gas, electricity, and water. That's your basic utilities. Then you got your cable, internet, right? That alone, and don't get sick. Don't get sick. Because if you get sick, that can wipe everything out. Everything. And they have you come to them every year so that they can try to psych you into believing something is wrong with you. Because you really don't know if something is really wrong with you, do you? Because they can tell you anything. They can tell you got another person growing inside of you, and you will not know. I don't mean a baby. You will not know. They can tell us, y'all, you got another person growing inside of you. We got to do this emergency surgery. And what will you say? Let's do it. Because you don't really know. These people will tell you anything as it relates to your body, and the majority of us will say, let's do it because we don't know. They tell you something's wrong with your blood. Well, I feel fine. I remember that movie with Queen Latifah, The Holiday, something holiday, The Last Holiday. And they told her she was a phenomenon because she had all of these tumors and was still alive with no medical conditions. No headaches, no nausea, no vomiting. She was perplexing to them. Had her believing that she only had how many, like 3 weeks to live, she cashed out everything and went on a splurge, only to find out at the end of the movie that you're going to be living for a long time, sister girl, and now you broke. Because you cashed out everything because she really thought she only had 3 weeks to live. We do it every time we go to modern Europeans who don't know nothing about our body, don't know nothing about our chemical makeup, don't know nothing at all. They don't know, we don't even know nothing. So we allow them to do whatever they want to our body, and we pay them. I worked in a hospital for 5 years. And I saw some things as I worked in there for 5 years that had me thinking, the hospital needs to be paying these people. Of course, it never manifested because people are content to let someone else dictate their lives to them. They never take responsibility for yourself. I don't care who you are, you know exactly when something is not right in your body. You might not want to admit it. You might not want to look at it, but you're the only one that knows when something is not right in your body. And to go to a complete stranger, a modern European at that, and ask them to tell you what's wrong with you don't make sense to me. And then you know what? Historically, we never did that. If you look at our ancestors, we never did that. And our ancestors lived well past 100. We can't hardly make it to 50. Must be all this wonderful medical insurance we got that got us running to these institutions. Yeah, it is. A big portion of it is diet because we didn't eat the way we're eating now. The amount of processed foods that people are eating today is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then when you look at some of the ingredients, it's crazy. Hold up, got to change my earpiece. And I believe, as soon as Rob comes back, I have all these earpiece gadgets that I just love, and I had to go to a meeting at one of these municipal corporations. You know, they gave me a citation. I had to go in there and have a little chit-chat with them. And I had this earpiece in, and I put it on record, and it recorded the whole conversation. I was like, oh, this is a wonderful invention. I can put it under my wrap, and you don't even see it, and it records just fine. So I got like 6 more. So anyways, our right to travel. We are responsible for ourselves. And sisters, if you have babies, you are obligated to pass the information on to them. Because if you don't, nobody else is going to do it. And they will be revenue generators for the next generation because they do not care about us. They do not care about our children. What we have to do as a people is look at the fact that this is a corporation. It's a corporation, right? And they're running it like a corporation. Is that right? Corporation don't have no feelings, has no passion, no empathy, nothing. Right? And some of these people running the corporations is the same as the corporation. So for us to presume that they are going to have a care for us or our children, when to them that's all we are, is a way to generate revenue, is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They look at us as revenue generators because this motor vehicle program, the driver's license and registration program, federally funded, right? Now, the reason the driver's license and registration started, and insurance, because that's a part of it too, that's in Title 49, it started was so that the people would be safe from employees of corporations who drive taxi cabs, buses, trains, and in that capacity. That's why it was started, right? So in order for them to continue getting this funding, they have to prove that there is a need to enforce the driver's license, registration, and insurance, right? Now, if Connecticut Transit, and I believe the subway and the railroad, all of that probably is partially owned by New York, right? So now that's a very small amount of people, right? So if they're not injuring the public, chances of the funding getting cut would be very high, correct? You following me? So they have to show that they have a larger group of people that they have to monitor as it relates to the driver's license, registration, and insurance. And then once you get these instruments and you have an accident, you know, not necessarily because you intended to have an accident, it's an accident, right? But they turn an accident into a fault, right? And so if you have this driver's license and registration, they can say, well, we're substantiating the need for the federal funding because we got this huge population of drivers who are having accidents, and we need the funding to continue patrolling and enforcing so that the people are safe. It sounds retarded. I don't want to use that word retarded because retarded people are not stupid. They're just thinking on a different level. That's stupid. Right? Stupid. But they get away with it because these are the same people that did not educate us, although we went through the institution, and they're not educating our children. So if we never get this information and start putting it in the children, what are the chances of the children getting out from under this fraud? Very, very slim. Very slim. And so it is up to us to get this information and pass it on to the children. It is up to us because they're not going to do it. If you didn't get it, your children are not going to get it. If you didn't get the necessary information to protect yourself today, your children are not going to get it. Because in giving the correct information to protect you from them, it's going to eliminate the federal funding. Everything that these municipal corporations are doing is based on federal funding. You know why? You know why? Somebody tell me what product or service New York Corporation provides. Everybody agree with him? Anybody got a different answer? What product or service does New York Corporation provide? Any municipal corporation. What product or service does any municipal corporation provide? Nothing. Just anybody disagree with me? What is that? So that's a product? No, you have to talk law. You have to talk lawfully. You can't talk like that. That's sadistic. You have to talk lawfully. How can the people be the product or the service? Here's the thing. It doesn't even matter. If you can get them to admit that, they've just admitted human trafficking. And they're never going to admit that. But I'll tell you what you can't do. You cannot say, oh, it's human trafficking. You have to show human trafficking without calling it human trafficking. How can you do that when it comes to the right to travel? How would you explain that? Remember, this is law. How would you show that you was compelled? What? Okay, but how were you compelled? Because it sounds like you volunteered. It is trickery of words, but we have to be able to see it for what it is and explain it where a third grader will get it. Huh? Well, they are, but how would you see? Here's the thing. Here's the question that's on the table. How would you, using the right to travel, how would you be able to explain human trafficking without calling it human trafficking? Well, it's going to be in your affidavit, but you got to write it up. What are you going to say? I can't hear you. Speak up. Well, that's the ticket, but we're not at the ticket. We're at the demand for you to get the driver's license and registration and all of that. How does that spell human trafficking? If you were going to write it up, what would you say? Because we got to look at things in a proactive way. We can't wait to get the ticket. We have to think, how can I address this proactively? I don't want to go and invest in my private property and take it out on the land and then get it stolen. How can I prevent that from happening? No. Be proactive. We got to be proactive. What would be our proactive risk that we would write? Well, okay, so would you ask Walmart for a delegation of authority? They are, because they're a corporation. But if you're not going to go and ask Walmart for a delegation of authority, why would you ask New York Corporation for a delegation of authority? They already let you. You would never think to call Walmart government because you know that they are a corporation. See, the only time that you would ask for a delegation of authority is if you're dealing with government. Well, they're on the World Wide Web and they're a municipal corporation. That's not government. I don't care if they got .gov after their name. Do you know that you can go to the federal government and apply for a website that has .gov? You do know that the World Wide Web is a federal program. That was started by the Fed. See, I was here when the World Wide Web is coming. How many people remember that? The internet is coming. The World Wide Web is coming. Nobody knew what the heck that was. What is that? What is it? The World Wide Web is coming. Where's it coming from? It's here now, and everybody's, oh, yeah, I know about the internet. We don't even call it the World Wide Web no more. But I remember when it was coming. And it came courtesy of the federal government. And that's why most of us are getting ripped off when we pay for internet, because it's a free service. It is. It's a free service. Corporations are compelling people to pay they're getting for free. You have a question? Well, anybody can establish a corporation, and you don't have to have a product or a service. However, if you're collecting income, there has, because according to the Internal Revenue Service, that's Al Capone got snipped for, right? He had all this money, but couldn't substantiate it with a product or a service. What? You mean? Oh, well, you know what? The municipal corporations is nothing more than Al Capone. That's what it's all based off of. What they're doing today is absolutely, how many people started gangs in New York? Well, the municipal corporation and the whole operation is based off of gangs. It's still a gang, but today they're called municipal corporations, right? They don't have a product or service, but why? How do you substantiate human trafficking? No. See, we've got to think proactive. Which documents? Well, the birth certificate we're not even talking about, because the birth certificate is something totally different. Totally different. But how many people have gone down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and picked up the application for registration and driver's license and analyzed it? All right? Now, if you did that, also couple that with online, they usually will have the driver's license manual. How many people have perused that lately? You know, in that, it tells you the title code that they're getting their authority from. None of it is in state codes, because states, they don't do that. They write statutes to administer a title code. Title code is supposed to be law, positive law, all right? So now it takes you back to Title 49. Title 49 says that this is for interstate commerce. Does the application for registration and license substantiate that, or is there missing information? Missing it. How are you going to get that information? You can write a little brief, a little questionnaire, 1 page, send it to the mayor of the CEO and ask them how, you would have to word your question appropriately, okay? Because what you want them to do is to tell you that how it is that you are compelled to get a driver's license and a registration from their perspective, because they're the ones that are attacking the people, right? So you want to get it from their perspective. And when you get their perspective, now you look at the application for license and driver's registration in conjunction with Title 49, and you can be proactive with that. I ain't going to say more because we're going over the air. But you can be proactive with just that piece of information if you analyze it well. Islam? Well, that doesn't really matter because most corporations have an EIN, and that's equivalent to an SSN. So that's not really like a smoking gun at all. Actually, what would need to happen is you would need to read the fine print on the back of the application, which I'm betting nobody has ever done, right? As well as the registration form. Yep. I'm sorry, what? You did what? You looked at it years ago, all right. All right. Well, you never needed a registration. Okay, well, see, here's the thing. You never needed to register it. And for you to create something that is supposed to be similar to a registration, there's a presumption that you are obligated to some sort of corporate policy. Because only corporations would need to register anything. People, just like when you bought your TV or your computer and had the little registration, would you like to register? That's optional, not mandatory. For the people, it's mandatory for corporations. Because if a private corporation's employee injures you, they need to be able to go into their records and find out what's the name of the corporation, who the CEO is, and go and talk to him about remedy for the person or the being that was injured. That's why registration came into being. It's not for the people in their private capacity because if I'm traveling here, and look, check this out. If I'm traveling and he's traveling and somehow we have an interchange with our automobile, right? The appropriate thing would be for me and him to set up a time to sit down and talk about how we're going to make each other whole, right? Make sense? How is it that the vast majority of people will call somebody who wasn't a witness to the event for them to take down a report, and then everybody goes and gets that report and submits it to an insurance company, and the person that the report came from wasn't even at the scene, didn't see nothing? That is some craziness, isn't it? Some craziness. But we fall for it all the time. And you know what? It takes nothing to change it. How many people, because I know I hear people saying, when I say that, oh, well, if you don't give them the report, the insurance company won't pay. Same principle applies. Why would you call?
The person you hit is injured, they're not moving.
Well, you can call the ambulance. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Or you can even call 911 and say, I need an ambulance. But the police ain't got no business in this. They weren't there. The ambulance has a job to do. They're going to show up, patch up, take away for any further injuries that the person might have. What is the police guy's function? What is the police employee's function? What would be his function? He doesn't have a function. He ain't got no business there, and his report in court would be hearsay, inadmissible. In a lawful court, anything that he writes would be in a lawful court would be inadmissible because it's hearsay. And here's the other thing. Another reason it would be inadmissible is because it's not a sworn statement, and it isn't even notarized. And it's not autographed under penalty of perjury, and he is a public servant, supposedly. Well, there's no provisions in the Constitution for a prosecutor. But all of this requires us to do some thinking so that we can better protect ourselves. But we're not going to be able to do that if we ain't studying. We got to know that Constitution. We got to look at things like the application for driver's license, registration. We got to look in their driving book, the driving book that references code that says this is where we are authorized to do this. And then we got to go and look at that. And then we got to come up with a way to be proactive. But the only way that we're going to be able to do that is if we are proactive in studying. Islam, you ready to take over?
But I was so inspired when I first fishing outside with my Western Moor to picture the Europeans to government who think they can be really government to legislation is wrong. Anybody else? That's why we use to enforce the law of this land. And I have a feeling. Can you hear me now? And I have a real hard time, and I spend a lot of energy in it. It's absolutely annoying to see this, to hear. Well, you know, they made a legislative law last week. When is it going to enforce the law of land from your family? You know, like, I was just speaking with someone, they talking about, well, you know, they don't own their house. No one owns the houses. Thank you, brother. It's about the cheating because the heirs apparent are incompetent. Do you get that? Who doesn't get that? I mean, really. So this is the type of teaching and sub-teaching that's going on. I'm not surprised at the condition that we're in. If you can't stand on the square of the truth that doesn't change no pass away, this is going to be the problem, and this is what the prophet said, there will be no more men in a minute. I was going to say, and I don't want to say that. There's no courage of understanding that and supporting that and with the family. If you're going to continue to think that these Europeans are government and your government, there's a problem. There's a problem with that. You're feeling comfortable with it. And you laugh and joke and say you're not judging other people, you know, regarding. You do silly things. You want to get into an argument. There is no argument. Let me explain how it works. It's so appropriate to what I wanted to discuss today, and I got to hand out this to everyone. So, you know, divine law governs all events. And, you know, it just annoys me. It annoys me. Mothers, you got to start teaching the babies. Sons, you got to start supporting the mothers, the families. Because the younger generation ain't going to do this. They're not. This is for the young and yet unborn. And we cannot continue to go on thinking that what they do is legislative law, when all they have is the power to enforce that which already is. If you should decide that's what you're going to do, you may as well just go bow down right now.
They don't pass law in the first place.
They don't make law. Oh, well, you know what I mean? The law, they don't make law. And let me tell you why it's so super important today. You got somebody like Trump. It's your fault. Many of us fault for thinking that that's who we want to live up to. Donald Trump. Who do you think you are, Donald Trump? Yeah, man, you Trumping it. You are Donald Trump. You got it all. He ain't never had money. Right? So now, when the times are hard, or when the electrified age of information is exposing the truth from the bottom that doesn't change nor pass away, all right? That doesn't change nor pass away. They are showing you exactly who they are and exactly what they think of you and your estate.
They expose the truth, but the people ain't listening.
They're exposing the truth, and the people still don't want to hear it. They want to talk about, well, you know, I mean, really? This man is representative, whether he's doing it for real or playing, because they all actors, or not, is not the issue. The universe is making him spit out of his mouth. Maybe that's why. I don't really care. The truth about what it is. So what are you going to do? It's really past time to understand that you are the law manifested in the flesh and enforce it. He's talking about what he's going to do on your ancestral state. Let me explain this to you. Let me explain this to you, and then I hand this out to you. But really, nobody owns none of this. If you're talking about how are you going to protect? I tell somebody, we, brothers, sisters, all of us need to protect our community so these people don't come in and literally rape you. Well, how are you going to do that when you don't even own your own house? Nobody owns it. It's an inheritance. It can't be bought, can't be sold, can't be transferred. When are we going to get that? How do I prove that to you? Not by common law application, that's for sure. Not by some artifice that was established by them for you to sign to sell over something or to mortgage. That's for sure. But by understanding what estate means. How many know? It sounds like cheating. And it is none. Because I'm annoyed that actually wants to cow down because maybe some policy enforcer who's a private employee who carries a gun on their hip is going to come into your community and snatch you up. Where do you want to stand? It doesn't mean you have to do the same, but it means you have to stand. So wherever you lay your head, this is your ancestors, this is your domicile, this is your national domicile. Or shall we continue to do that and teach that to our children? I don't think so. I don't think so. And he said prisons ain't the same as what she used. She tried to give you, she tried to give you the explanation of that. That's kidnapping. You're going to continue to let them kidnap you off the land, which is an ancestral estate, which you have birthrights to just breathe on? And all of a sudden you want to step like this so they can do what they want to do? It's over. How many people don't realize it is over? They are telling you, and like you said, Brother Lawrence, our people still ain't hearing it.
They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it.
Estating is an aspect derived of feudal law. Keep in mind feudal law that pretends that the falling back or reversion of land to the lord of the fee upon failure of the heirs that are capable of inheritance under the original grant. Your ancestors the original grant. Oh, okay. And you're the heir. Because the these are like them. And we are definitely incompetent. There's no doubt about it. So, let me read it. The condition when the state makes claim of lands or inheritances, wherein or whereas the heirs to the said estate or inheritance are, by whatever reason, by whatever obstruction, whatever incapacity, incompetence, or other contrived condition, so they do give you contrived condition, situation, which creates or is claimed to constitute a state of non-defensibility, because you're incompetent to do so. One of the reasons we're incompetent is we won't even claim our own mothers and fathers by being invisible. That's the first reason, because if you left me something, if I was in air and I'm not claiming it, then guess what? It's done. So now you're incompetent because you don't even recognize your own mother and father. That's what this is all about. People think it's about something else, but this is about the spiritual and the divine. Yes. Now, I also hear people say, well, some people they learned these lessons and nobody held their hand and walked into the court with them and structured and gave them structure. The structure's already done. It's called the law of the damn land. What the heck else do you need? See, this is the problem. We're so used to want to babysit everybody so we can see how much finance we can make off of them. Also, let's create and organize it so that everybody knows. You know, when you go in there, and if you don't put a circle around your passions, square up your conduct, and talk in an intelligent tone, you will get spared. And you've already been told to do that. So if you don't know how to do that, then spend the time studying and learn how to do it before you go do it. Because it is the arrogance and the ignorance that is causing the problem in that respect as we speak. I say to you, well, are you your brother's keeper? I am not my brother's keeper, or let's say I'm a sister, so I am not my sister's keeper. I am my sister. You need to say the same thing. I'm not my brother's keeper. I am my brother because when I look in his face, I'm looking in the face of Allah. These lessons have already been shared. You're not getting them. Nobody's going to babysit anymore because you may just become fodder because it's already been given to you. Now, there's people who are coming in the way to try to, deter you. But the path is yours alone. 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 If you're the only one, do that. Because if you don't walk down that path to get to the other side, you will never meet up with anyone else that's in the same place you are. You got to go through it. So the first time you went into the courtroom, the so-called courtroom, you find out now, it might not have been a good experience. So then people say, well, you got to walk in your shoes. If you're gonna lead, you got to lead by example. Yep, sure do. You already know that there is this is a spiritual war right now. Does everybody understand that? That when you're meeting people, you're meeting the spirit, you're meeting the soul. You have to meet their soul. You really do. You really, really do. And so this man, I'm telling you, it's I understand why these things have been. I'm telling you, I get it. I know why it says this is divine and national movement, because it's divine first. Now, I was giving this out, and I'm gonna give it out because I want if I never give anything else again. This cover is truth, and falsehood is strangely mixed. And on the back, I have this joint that says a shattered glass, and it says lies. And then I added this: lies shatters lies. Lies shatters lives. So that's the sandwich to this little bit of information that on something. Truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Hereditary. People say, well, you gotta make the claim. How are you gonna let the prophets say no one can change your desert nature? So do you have to prove anything to anyone except for to yourself? Are you who you say you are? I am that I am. So if it has to be proven to someone else, or if you think that you got to prove to someone else who you are, something's wrong. Because what you really have to do is be who you are. And you don't have to prove it at all. So you got to prove to them that we are. All right, Emma just showed you what? Talking about the right to travel. Title 49. Give you a good example. Someone says, yeah, well, they stopped and they said that they got the authority because they got the authority from what? Title 49. No, but that's what they said. Title 49 is what gives us, we're talking municipalities and that, right, for traveling or for driving. That's what they said. They say they get their authority from Title 49, right? How many people have heard that? You have heard it? Okay, they never used to say that before, did they? But because you asked them where they get it, they came up with Title 49, didn't they? How did you feel when she just showed you what Title 49 said? Yeah, wow. Let me tell you what that is. That is an example, and it's not personal to you, of lack of freaking study. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, You feel better about that the next time, don't you? Because it's right there. So when people say, you got to show them and grab them by the hand, and that's why we're not an organization. We just share information. And we're a publishing company, so we can publish it all. Okay, that's it. First Amendment right.
I don't know who they is, though.
They has to be identified.
Yeah, right. There's no such person as they.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. It's in there too. It's in there too. It says, well, one of the things is, I got that right up in here. Corporations, how many have seen this? I got the wrong glasses, but I'll be all right. I can see okay. They too strong to say I did. All right. Amexem has defined government succinctly in that governments are corporations in as much as every government is an artificial person.
That's what it is.
All right. And an abstraction, that's what it is. Okay? A creature of the mind only, that's what it is. All right? A government can deal only with artificial persons. The imaginary, because that's what it is, a piece of paper in the drawer. All right? The imaginary piece of paper in the drawer, having no reality or substance, cannot create nor can it attain parity with the real flesh and blood. Ben Hamlin versus Jones. You hear that? Now we got the real problem situation. Because all of them are corporations. She just told you. You thought they were law enforcement. You thought they were government. That tells me, people will email me, this is my government name, and I don't know about it. No, it's not. That's not your government. Never was. I don't give a shit if you thought it was. It still is not. Even if you thought it was, it still is not and never was. It's artificial delusion that you have believed it.
So,
Truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. It's a powerful statement. Prophet knows you already left that for it. For a son. Because it is. So you got to ferret out how it is. You got to ferret out how it is. And then stand on the truth. Because it is the principle. Number two, after love, is creating justice. You're not getting justice with lies. You're not getting justice unless you stand on the truth. I don't care if nobody else is standing on it. You stand on it. Oh, you sure? What about you? I can tell you all about my stuff, but guess what? I'm kind of like, I ain't telling you all the problems so you can figure out how to come and cut my eggs off, because that's the way we are. That's the way we think, because we are still in what? Mental slavery. I'm not afraid to say it, because I know that it's true, because I've been there too. So how about that? We all been there. That's what this is all about, to bring you out of the mental slavery, right? And it's hiding that truth. And with knowledge and belief, or knowing, not belief, because belief is for the children. You're going to tell that baby that these are ABCs, she's going to believe it until she starts writing words and sentences with them ABCs. Now, she don't have to believe it because the girl knows. Now she's graduated from belief to knowledge, and she's going to step out on the face of what? Of what she knows, not what somebody else knows. And that's part of our problem. We keep searching for someone else. We've been there, but I've been there, we've all been there. She got to step on what she knows. That's why it's important to teach her and the children, all of them. And it starts with the rules, the first agreement for the covenant, the Ark of the Covenant is here, first school room. Right? Sisters don't even let none of this external classroom, schoolroom, Head Start, pre-Head Start, even fret you. None of it has any power greater than the very first schoolroom, which is So, and what you know go to them. We really need to get this. So, when they say, yeah, they passed the law legislature last week, I'm upset. Yes, you can ruffle my feathers with that because, well, don't get me wrong, I'm not really upset. I just have a lot of energy. I was born that way. Did y'all know? I was born with 6 planets and 1 place. That's why the passion is there. Because I can't control it. I had to learn how to. I mean what I say. So I give it out. Some people take anything in, other people let it out. It's all about the energy. So here's what I'm saying to you. When someone says, yeah, they did it wrong, they being the government, right. That's not the government, right. And number one, we have squarely identified, right. What you said, who is they, right? Yeah. We have squarely identified them. Stop calling them that. Now, some people aren't going to,
Substitute. No, that's substitute.
Thank you. Listen to me. It's all in this little piece, too. They're vicars. That's another thing. Stop talking about the damn Pope and what he did. Who gives a damn? Go. He's talking to people who were the British subjects or the English for him. He even came here last year and gave us a ghost on that. We're still talking about it. He came on a ritualistic, what was it, the fall equinox, blood moon, right? Something else is going on. Gave it up and walked away. Because it's time. Because all is being unveiled. Now, I know that it's kind of difficult because you, like Anna E. said, you know, you went to school, you got a doctorate, a bachelor, a master's and all that, and you don't know nothing. Because you were taught nothing. So this, when people say, oh, well, you know, I don't know if this information is really for us all. It is for us all. That's the beauty of it. It does not prejudice or, discriminate anyone. But the mental slavery causes us to think so. We make substitutes for things, you know, and we won't put ourselves out there. And just sit and study, and that's what I'm saying. It was a good lesson over there. I heard the lesson now. About that title 49. But here's what I want to say. Think about it. If the resistance exists when the truth is at face of people who say they are law enforcement, government and stuff, and courts and stuff, this is serious. But it is so serious and obvious that it can be wiped out like this overnight. Almost. That's what I say. I don't know. Am I being unreasonable?
No, you're not.
I'm not, am I? Because it's mental.
People just got to know the truth. They don't know the truth.
And the truth said what?
That should be. It's right there. The truth is there, but the people don't see it.
Because they're in a what? Mental slavery. But it's okay. It's all right. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. It's all right. I remember in the beginning, every time a sister came by not too long ago, reminded me of something that we used to do in the beginning. Whenever we would say, okay, you were here when Anna E. long time ago, we would put a quarter or 50 cents in it. Yes, because we're not to say okay because okay means all killed. That's not a word. That was A-OK means all are killed when they were... Kill them all. You replace it with all right. And so it takes what? Conscious practice to do so. That's all. Conscious practice to do so. And I was in that, and then I went away from it. And then the people that you're with, the energy you're with will affect you. You cannot be up to different yokes. That's in the bibliothèque with that. You can't. I don't care how much you want to try. You can't. And these days and times are going to show you that even against your will. Because it is the will of Allah that is working on this. I know you don't believe it, and people say, well, you mean Allah, you mean God? Allah. You are all law manifested in the flesh, don't you know? All right? So, and submitting to the will of our law already happened when you was in your mother's womb anyway. So let's move on and understand what is what. Now, some people say, well, is there going to be a war? Now, the prophet Moor already said, well, it already is a war. It's a social war. I mean, it already is. If you don't realize you're in a war, look, anytime you could say, all right, the law is emphatically, no diggity, no doubt, I have, as Adam Eve expressed, the right to travel without all those things. Because it's my unalienable birthright. What does the Bible say? Come to know the truth about your what? Your nationality and your home and your birthright. So don't let nobody tell you he wasn't talking civic. Because that's a lie.
Cannot be brought solo or transfer.
Can be brought solo transfer. So now you're out there doing you think somebody has an opposition to you expressing your birthright. Part of the reason why today, well, besides people making finances and our ignorance and they were able to get away with it, is because it's seriously dangerous now. Because what has been breeded in terms of the mental slavery is dangerous. To have certain people, that's what they're looking at. So you may be saying, well, damn, what do we do? Don't worry about it. It's just going to have to do what it do because it's all going to have to hit the fan to be over with one way or another. That's it and that's all. So guard yourself up.
Here's what it is.
Guard yourself up. It is what it is. It's going to go down because you cannot do wrong but for so long. And what we're going to look at is the effects of it. So what I would say, if you say I am not my brother's keeper, but I am my brother, and if I say I am not my sister's keeper, I got that from a Yahweh, it is tight. I am my sister, and we know that that's approved by when you look in each other's face, you're looking in the face of both, all right? Then it's time for you to get off your high horse and look at the serious social engineering and needs of your own family. Because failure to see that is a part of that mental slavery. One of the things that they're doing is paying the babies. That's a sister problem in a way. That's a brother problem in a way too. You know, this is serious stuff, so they can condition them for another generation or two. That's how they got enough to do. So we can't let that occur. So all of these differences must be noted, duly noted, and realize that they're not your family. We are our family. So how's that going to come to truth? I think it's going to be kind of dangerous. I think it's going to be kind of hard to accept. I think you're not going to really be living like you think you might have worked hard and got your master's and your bachelor's and all that degree to do. That's over. That's not how it's going to come to fruition. It's not. Because I listen to how they say, one day you're going to be, I don't know, I never want to accept that you're going to be pulling skippers off of you. Now, what's a skipper? A maggot, right? That's what a skipper is, right? Who wants to be in that position? But let's be real. Do you really think these modern Europeans give a real good darn about whether you eat? Do you? Are they showing you that?
They showing us that.
Been showing it. Been. So it's a possibility, right? That some may, in fact, be in such positions, in such places, in the crevices and, you know, wherever they may be, correct? It's going to happen. Some see it now. Some don't. Right. So, I think there's some serious wake up, you sleepyhead moments that still has to go on, but I'm not judging that. I'm just saying that's what it is. One of the things is this. Hereditaments are any and all species of property that may be inherited, lands, tenements, or anything that's corporeal or incorporeal. Show of hands, how many know the difference between corporeal and incorporeal? I'm not talking incorporated. No. See that? There you go. There you go. So let's get that lesson today. So that maybe you can understand why it said, come hear the truth about your nationality and your birthright. Because they're intangible. But they're still hereditary. Do you understand? You will. Because all you got to do is look at these words. But I'm going to give them to you. All you got to do is look them up, and I'm going to give them to you. So this all you got to do is study it. And so you don't even have to really look it up. But you got to be, and only can be, what you know. So that's why you got to study to know. Simple. We've been indoctrinated for some other kind of way.
I'll say study.
Study. And when you you study well,
right,
and would ask me what to study next, I would say study yourself. And you got two selves, a higher and a lower. All point.
Get back to the corporation. You're talking about the corporation, the artificial person. Well, we got two types of persons.
Mm-hmm.
You're artificial person or you're a natural person.
That's right. So here we go. Hereditaments are all species of property that may be inherited, lands, tenements, or anything corporeal or incorporeal, real, personal, or mixed that may descend to an heir. So then I'm like, okay, let's see, what's birthright? Oh, they're right. Privileges, inheritances. Oh, my birthright is an inheritance. It's an inheritance. I don't even have to pay nothing to have an inheritance. Right? And I don't even have to pay it. I got an inheritance. Oh, my God. That's great. That's wonderful. Let's see. All right. So, as inheritance or possession, what does the Father say? You are the true possessors. You may not be in possession, but you're the true possessors. Get yourself in possession. In position. To which a natural person is entitled to by birth. Such as an estate that is descendable to an heir, or a civil liberty, under a what? Free Constitution. Excuse me, but is this the American National Constitution? Is the free Constitution that everyone must answer up to wherever they are in it? Is that right?
Right.
Okay. Do you understand what this man said is? You might not understand so far. Why are you answering up to all this other stuff? See, because what I'm going to show you here, if you don't get what this is, people say, change your status. Well, 1,500 and I'll change your status. It don't mean jack, and you ain't getting jack if you don't understand the foundation of what that is anyway. It means nothing. Nothing. Because first of all, nobody can change your descent nature. Only you can say I am that I am. And then be it. And nobody can stop you from that. So here we are. So corporeal and hereditaments, they're the ones that are visible and tangible. You can touch them. You can pick it up. You can see it. You can touch it. Those are corporeal. But incorporeal hereditaments are those that you cannot even see. They're hereditaments which are not in themselves or in itself visible or tangible. And incorporeal hereditary weight. Come here to the truth about your birth. Weight.
That's in you already.
It's birthright. You roll with it. Nobody can take it away. You just don't know what it is. Well, check this out, though. Not only is it corporeal hereditary right, it's also an interest or an obligation. You have the obligation. But you're not living up to the obligation because you don't even recognize that you have it or what it is. So it's impossible. Now, the word lineal heirs, like heirs of the body, mean all lineal descendants to the remotest posterity. So don't tell me, well, you got to prove to them that you're it. Well, you're as a parent. When you see people with brown skin across the entire planet, you know it's family. You know that's true. You know that's true. So what do you mean I got to go prove to this person that I am, in fact, the inheritor? It's heir apparent. We might question some that have true fashion and say, well, who's your mama?
That's an illusion too.
But that's an illusion too, because the truth is the mixing. That's a whole other thing, making it even more complicated to understand. But it still don't change the fact that this is my answer. Apparent. So when someone says, well, you got to prove to them No, I walk in the room and you can see. Why do you think they took Native Americans, which are us, and made you think that they were pale-skinned, so-called labeled Indians? But you know that it's not true. How do you know? Because the natives, which was supposed to be that they labeled us Indians, called them modern Europeans what?
Federal Reserve.
They called them pale-face.
I'm talking about
They're federally recognized. That's right, because there's Native Americans and federally recognized Indians. Why do you think they called the modern Europeans pale-face? Because they were pale-face and these so-called natives were not. See, this is where the prophet said if I can just get you to thinking, you would free yourself.
Black means feel.
Well, there you go. They're the original Negroes and the original black people. That's etymology language, which, by the way, next week, Abdullah will be here to do an etymology class, okay? All right? How many 50 cents do I got to put in the bucket today? Now, today, I didn't know. I said, okay, but I corrected it. Correction is all that matters. So for the remotest descendants, lineal heirs from the remotest posterity. Now, I don't know, but I think the Constitution said that this is for the posterity, so pay close attention to the words so that you can relate what that was done and what was done for, no matter what somebody told you. So, the remotest posterity and the words of, and, let's try it again, the words lineal heirs, like heirs of the body, meaning all lineal descendants to the remotest posterity, and are words of inheritance, and not of purchase. You can't purchase the inheritance. So when the brother told me, well, they don't even own their own house. No one owns this. But I'm going to give you the definition of land so you can understand why. So you don't claim no house. If you understand what land is, you would never claim a house. It's crazy. How you going to claim a house? That's the structure on the land, and that's the definition of land. All structures that are on it. But you didn't study, we, all, whatever, whoever, you didn't study enough to know that. So you went and you studied. And that's true. That's my point. That's the point. That's the point. But this mindset that is indoctrinated for the mental slavery has us thinking, do you know how many Moors get together and have associations and things like that and do the same daggone thing that the modern European has done? Call it registry, the Moorish registry. Huh? The Moorish vital statistics.
That's word. That's word game again.
Well, it's word games, but they actually go through the actions.
They don't know what these words mean yet.
They don't even know what the whole process of whatever they're talking about means. You understand what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to be in the Moorish registry, and where is that registry registered?
We're going to start a new nation.
No, the new nation starting is very offensive. Right. It should offend every woman that every Moabite sister to hear anybody say that they're going to start a new nation means they don't know that she came here with the nation in her womb. That's a disrespect, dishonor. What's the 101? Humanity, written on the womb. She may be knocked out, but still, that's where it is. So it's in her womb. So how are you going to start a new nation? You cannot. How many brothers think they can? We're going to put it real, though. They can't. And until we get that part done, it won't. But it's okay, because many are called and few be chosen. Not because I chose, she chose, or he chose, but because you choose yourself. If you're not walking in the path, well, if you don't need the call won't need you. It's not complicated. We're not special because we heard the call. You're not special because you heard the call. You're not special because you heard the call, because it was always for us anyway. So it doesn't make anyone special, doesn't make anyone not special, but it makes us all have to come up to the plate. You can come up to the plate. You will not injure me. You will not injure him. You will not injure him because he has a circle of protection. Because all that you could ever do to anybody is send them energy that is either good and or is bad. That is it. And if you have a circle of protection, keep me in a circle of protection. If someone wishes bad on me, send it back in their direction. But don't leave them in misery. Show them how you protect me, and their soul too can be free. That's what you say. That's a positive invocation. You're not wishing nothing bad on nobody. But at the same time, whatever someone wishes bad to you, it's reflected back to them, because the grave you did for someone else, tell them, Anna E, what is it? The grave you did for someone else? No, the grave you, yeah, right. That is real talk. You may think it's not because it took 3 weeks, took a year. And these days and times, it's going to take 3 days. Because this is not playing. You will see the rewards or the reactions to your actions quickly. Just take responsibility. Responsibility simply means respond. It's really not all that. So here we go. So an inheritance is a right, is an interest, and an obligation. So if you're in the family and you know that your father or your mother or whatever had an interest in whatever, that's an inheritance for you to even keep that interest going. You don't stop that. Oh, why are you doing that? Because I inherited it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Obligations. They took the social engineering and false school systems, the teachers have your obligations and your interests somewhere else except for your family, and you wonder why we have these problems with this institution they put in the front and to come between the mother and the father, where it's called family service. You wonder why that's real. That's real because they've been working that for a couple generations, and we received it and accepted it. We received it and accepted it and let it go down. So now, I can get that for. Say, next generation, I'm going to go a little first. What you talking about? Your mama did it. Right. Your mama put your daddy in every given Friday. They picked him up and put him in jail. You don't want to be like your daddy, do you? That's what they did. It's wrong.
That didn't just start.
No, I'm saying it's been going on. Yeah. First it was, all right, sis, we're going to give you some benefits, but you can't have a man anyhow. So that was bad. Right. You got to go and run around sneaking and have a man. That's a dishonor to your son. How could you even let, how could we let that go down? But it's a slow grind. Next generation can't have your mother in the house. Next thing you know, you got daughters running out here that don't even know that the first thing that comes out of the breast when they breastfeed is a clear liquid called colostrum, which is the vaccine to vaccine the child. That's what you got. That's true. Or I can't breastfeed, no milk is coming out. It's just some clear stuff. That's the colostrum. It is to be given to the child first. It is all the immunities that she is receiving from you first. Then it will turn into the milk. That's what you have as a result of that family services that you think is doing you a service and destroying the family. And now they're working on their fourth leg of how they're going to do it. They're going to stop you because you don't have a driver's license, and then they're going to take the child right out of the car. You think I'm kidding?
I know what you're talking about, yeah. That don't even make sense. That's why I can't.
Who said it had to make sense? It doesn't make sense that anybody would allow this to happen to their family. But it doesn't really matter what the reasons are. Let me go into voluntary and involuntary ignorance. Truth is, it don't matter which one fits you. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Nobody gives a daggone whether it's voluntary ignorance you got going on with you or involuntary ignorance you got going on with you.
Lord up in all of it.
Right.
And even the Lord goes to.
It really doesn't. Let me give you the definition of it. Show you how important it is. So now, let me say the remotest of inheritance, the finish, the remotest posterity are the words of inheritance and not of virtues. Okay. All right. So there you go. Now, what's an ancestral? And what is ancestral estate? Ancestral simply means anything that relates to ancestors or what has been done by them. Period. What has been done by them, like a deed that they do. Not a written deed on a piece of paper, which is an instrument, which is a corporate instrument. A deed that's done is something done. Did you do a good deed today? Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, related to ancestors is what has been done by them. Ancestral estate are such as are transmitted by descent, not by purchase. By descent, not by purchase. Or such as are acquired either by descent or operation of law realty, which came to the entity by descent or device from a now dead ancestor or by a deed done or act or gift from a living one. There being no other consideration than that of blood. Blood. This is about bloodline. Just sanguine, right? So this is why I think it was last night we were talking in the presence of my mother, my sister was born in Europe and my brother was born in China or something, they're all the same. It doesn't matter. She the mother, it's her baby. She's in China. That don't make her baby a Chinese. We got to understand that. We start talking citizenship, membership stuff. Instead of just sanguine, which is the blood. It's about bloodline. The Bible says you have an illustrious history, right? She gave you the bloodline too. More like Canaanite blood, right? And all those who love Jesus, Yahshua, know that he comes from more like Canaanite blood too, right? And that his mama was Ruth, his great-great-grandmother was Ruth, still by lineal descendancy to the remotest of descent, which means you. So now you got these modern Europeans trying to tell you about Jesus and how you need to accept him as your Savior.
They killed him.
Well, they did, but that's your sister's son. You already know him.
Yeah, I mean, just
we understand it. So Jesus does mean justice, and everybody praying for Jesus is praying for justice, and that's a good thing because they're going to get it. We all are. So now here we go. Definition of land. Land includes not only the soil or the earth, but also things of a permanent nature affixed thereto or found thereon, whether it be by nature, as in water, trees, grass, herbage, other natural or perennial products, growing crops or trees, mineral under the surface, or by the hand of man as buildings, fixtures, fences, bridges, or by the hand of man as buildings. That's the land. Okay? As well as works constructed for the use of water, such as a dike, and canal. Nobody owns the canal either. Now, I'm not telling you this to tell you to go claim land. I'm telling you this to get you to understand what your ancestral state is. I'm getting you to understand who you are by posterity, which is forevermore. That cannot be changed because no one can change it. This says nature. I'm telling you this to start honoring your mothers and fathers and acting as it and being who you are. You can only be what you know. And not allowing someone else to tell you that you got to prove to me that you are the heir when you are the heir apparent across all four corners of the earth. And everyone else on the planet knows it but us. Because this is truly the land of milk and honey. This is the temple of the sun and the moon. This is the continent, the North America, what we call it North America, Northwest America. It's South America, North America, and Central Asia joining us. It's the biggest one all we got. It's the true hub of civilization. Morocco. Where the Moors go. That's the truth. That's the truth. And the proof is in putting always, because that's why you have Olmec heads in South America, right up, butted up to where Africa, what we call Africa today, once was close by, right there, that's right there, because you just stepped over before the great ocean, right? The Atlantis when it separated. But Atlantis is rising. Atlantis is rising today. No, I mean the people. I mean Atlantis, La Moria. The land of the Moors is La Moria. How do you know it's coming back? When it starts to get warmer, because that's the climate. What is today? Highest what? Highest? 84. Hey, come on. It's the truth. Today is hot, right? They call them, or they used to call them, Indian summer.
Yeah.
But whether it's today or not today, I'm telling you for tomorrow. That's how you know. When the people's conscious mind gets straight, that's when the planetary temperature is going to change. That's why there's all these great earthquakes knocking these people on. Do you understand? But were you not warned of that? Did it say that the great God of the universe will not be satisfied? All these things is going to happen because you cannot rely on they to feed you. Actually moving closer, the sun cycle is moving closer, and those who cannot sustain the sun rays can't even live on the surface of the earth, so they got to go back to where? The cave. Are you going to be ready for that? Because you can sustain it. You always could. You understand? You understand? All right, now listen. Here's the interesting thing. You hear what I'm reading to you, and I already read his cheat, right? That's when the state takes over all of these things, all these wonderful things I just showed you, the yours and all that, right? When do they take over again? When you are proved, when you are what? Incompetent to receive what? Your inheritance. It's understandable because you won't even claim that it's yours. That's incompetence. So let us hold it until you come back and claim it, which is why abandonment, if you ever look it up, has to be, now that has to be proven. In order to abandon your estate, you have to have had the intention to abandon. And we know we didn't have the intention to abandon because we didn't even know it was our estate. So that was, when we get to that level, that one is not even a threat because it tells you right in there you have to have the intent to abandon. You could be gone for a long time, but if you never had the intent to abandon, then it's not abandonment. It appears to be, and that's why the prophet said, yo, you are the true possessor. You just ain't in possession. When I say that, I'm not talking about, a house necessarily. That's inclusive if it's there. I'm talking about your inheritance. That all of them are working off of and trying to act like they own and claim it. You know that's not true. You know they came from over slaves as the original Slavics, and you know they came again throughout the island. So you know that's not true. That's easily proven. Nobody is denying that every day. And they say that the definition of American. Come on now, y'all seen that, right? Put it out and out. It was a mind blowing when we called it. Nouns, an aboriginal or one of the various copper-colored natives found on the American continent, found on the American continent by the Europeans. This is the original application of the name. They're not the Americans either. So you understand this. So that's we go back to the Indians, so-called Indians. Right. But they call the Aboriginal and indigenous is two different things. That's another thing. Everybody went off on the indigenous. But we're Aboriginal, which means we're automatically indigenous. But just because you might be indigenous don't mean you Aboriginal. Is it 115? Well, that's whatever. I don't know what they mean by that. Yeah, right. That's the that's the story. That's how. Yeah. We need to do our own history. So, like we said a few months ago, we went down to Aristotle and we dug up the real deal. I meant to add those 5 things in this, but I'll give it to you next time. Because I'm going to hand this 2 years we close out. Last one.
Them Europeans now, they claim to be Indians. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. They're called, what is it, Paleo Indian? Paleo Indians. Now listen to me very carefully, dag nabbit, my people. Do not let this go down. Have you seen how they're talking about, I've done my genealogy, and I am 10% this and 20% that. Don't you know nationality, my people, is the name of the game today? But that's an impossibility. Today, Anna E just played that last week when she said, oh, yeah. So, I'm 10% British and whatever percent, whatever. What happened? On the sea, the boats met? I mean, how in the heck did that happen? And you know what I'm saying? Watch it. It is time for us to take our place amongst the affairs of man if I never say it again. And we don't get it. We got to get it. Just simply take your place.
Well, they exposing it. Just listen.
They're exposing we receiving it, but they're going to take it because they always take it. It's just like right now we're trying to bring the people in, and we know that we need to have a different card for those who are not really Aboriginal. I'm sorry, but you're not Aboriginal, so I can't give you this because that's what they said. Maybe we'll make another one, but we're kind of busy trying to give the ones we got to our own, and some of them don't understand it, but they still are it. And those who don't, it will change in your pocket, like the prophet said. This is what we're working on, but we got to get to that too.
Prophet said, you don't do anything.
Declare your nationality. So here we go. The remotest posterity. Please keep that in mind. To the word lineal heirs, like the heirs of the body, mean all descendants to the most remotest posterity. To the most remotest posterity. That means the little sister here, her children's children. That's still going to be the heir. That's still going to be the heir where we are today. So the question is, who are the heirs? Who are the heirs of the American land ancestral state? First of all, I didn't put this on the thing, but I think I have this on the site, or I will. Y'all seen this? The sister, right? This is the Statue of Liberty, the third one that they said in the Da Vinci Code that they said existed, but they never showed it. You know what I'm talking about? It's in color on this thing. Right? I showed it up here one time. Right. Now, I'm just trying to brief this because this is important. If you don't get all of this, you may get on up out of here and do whatever because you ain't going to get nothing else. Believe that. Know that. Graduate from believing it, and they know it, and then manifest from it, which means you have faith in what you know. And then tell me about it. Because it will be what it is.
You want to keep you in the illusion with that, for the birth of a new nation, the birth of a
new yeah. I haven't seen that. Yeah, I saw the first one. I haven't seen this one yet. Now, hold on. I just want to say this. This will lead us a little bit to the little spiritual part a little. You know, we got to touch on that because it's divine and national. You are the lineal descendant of the mothers and the fathers of civilization and civilization principles on the entire your planet. Islam. You hear that? You. Who are the descendants, I said, of the who are the heirs? Who are the heirs of the American land and state is the question. But the answer is you are the lineal descendants of the mothers and the fathers of civilization and civilization principles on the entire planet, all four corners of the earth. That's why the prophet said, what is the prophet? Right, with the angels do they go and deliver the message to all four corners. That's right. Yeah. That's right. The Asiatics. Now, this is why no matter where the archaeologists go on this planet, the only bones that they ever will find are what they call the African woman, which is really the first man. They named these bones Lucy. Why? Because, Say it again? December morning. Okay, the sun, you said the sun of the morning. So then, okay, all right. So check it out. So check it out. They named it Lucy because it is a derivative of lucid. You follow me? The lucid light from the ultimate light bearer to which is she, of which you came from. Did you get it? Oh, now we got to go into a little bit more religious stuff now. Is that what you're talking? No, not really. Religion is law, order, and government principles. But in case you think we do, let's go there. Because I went there earlier a little bit, and it says right here, stop praying to vicars that pray to you. You see this picture? They are praying to what they call the Black Madonna, where they'll try to masses and stuff, but ask Madonna, baby Jesus, Mary and baby Jesus. But this isn't in color, but on this other side, it's in color. Yeah, I gave it to you, right? And I superimposed it here so you can see that they're all their knees. And there's a picture of the Moabite mother, brown, and son, because one thing that is spread is Ma and son. None of this other stuff is all an illusion. I don't care what they say.
Everybody come on this family that come salute the Stargate. Stargate is none other than woman.
None other than woman. There you go. Their mama there had William Grand Architect, built Solomon, soul of man's temple in the darkness and the silence with no hands and no wounds. We all came from there. Stop praying to vicars. But that's how vicars work. Such do gods that pray to you. I just told you. So is to lineal descendants. You, mother. That's the original statue.
That's right.
That's it. That's why they don't show it. So you stop praying to vicars that pray to you, and also to those who rule the ignorant people, while they sit under what? Your family crest. Do you ever see the Pope under your family crest? Y'all seen it, right? I got it on the site. I know you saw it. But, some people say, well, it's just a matter of how much information you give them and how you give it to them. And you got to tell them, you got to take them out of hand. Something. No. Wake up, you sleepy-headed ones. If you see that, then you know that it's time for you to do something and study a little more till you get straight. Not pretend that it is not what it is.
Pope put that in place when he came over here. He said that everybody that came over here are immigrants. That's what he said. Everybody. So not only they are immigrants, I am myself.
The Pope said when he was here last fall, equinox is about a year now, right? He said it, the tape, you could go pull the tape and listen to it. He spoke in English as best he could because he usually speaks in Latin. You could tell that he was straining to try to say it in English so that they couldn't read, what you call it, and translate his stuff wrong. That's what he did. And he dropped it. Dropped it.
He went and got his nationality card, too.
Shoot. He does?
Yes.
So now, this is on the site on Moorish responsibilities and abilities. It's in color. This is the code of arms that when you look it up, they'll say, well, possibly ancient, that Christ in Germany. Which means that you know that you're the original people in Germany. That's all it is telling you.
People all over.
And if they say possibly ancient, that means they can only go back but so far. Because the rest is your illustrious history. It is for you to know and teach and not ask them to teach you and your baby because they're going to misguide them. All right. Lastly, and then we got to close it out. So I said that. We got that, right? And I can't go to this because it's time to close out, but I'm going to just give you ignorance, voluntary, and involuntary because I already told you. Involuntary ignorance. Oh, now you got a good lesson, brother, that Anna gave about Title 49, so you can say I experienced that lesson. You know how many people won't experience it or haven't or won't because they won't experience it. They didn't hear it. They're not going to hear it. You can even tell them, and they still might not hear you. So divine law governs all events. You are where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, to hear what you need to hear. If you have ears to hear, you hear. I say you think, that's it, that's all. Many are called, few chosen. You chose that. That spoke to you. But it's the truth for everyone. So same thing with when they talk about the 9th, the 10th, and 11th Amendment, and I'm just going to brief it. They say the 11th Amendment gives us the power to, where it says in the 11th Amendment, it says all things not, it says, okay, it's clear that all those things, okay, when we look at the 9th and the 11th Amendment, wherein it clearly lets you know that if it is not written in the Constitution, the matter is reserved for the people and for the respective states. It doesn't mean necessarily the Union state, because we're in a state. State is a group of people occupying a fixed land. That's the first thing we got to get out of my mind, that state necessarily means a union state. That's why they're called union states, to make sure you keep it straight. They're union states. That means they're not American states. That's why you got the Organization of American States, and they don't include not North Carolina, not South Carolina, not New York, not New Jersey, because they are not American states. They are the Union states occupying on the American land with permission of your ancestors. If it wasn't for the treaty, they couldn't be here like this.
Came over here on the Mayflower anyway.
Well, they came as slaves.
Slaves, I know that. Right.
We the one getting their freedom, not the British. The British never, you can't find it written nowhere where they answered their Declaration of Independence. Nowhere. It's not written because it didn't happen. We did with the treaty. That's where it happened. You tell me where it's written, because it's not. But to end all the calamities, the wars, the deaths, the problems, we did. And then we sit here and act like we're going to dismiss it and allow them to dismiss it too. And then talk about Mexicans we're going to put a wall up. So I put up on the site the original request from them to the so-called Mexican Republic at the time requesting the treaty. Of course, they couldn't give it to them because they were here too.
Yeah. Well,
so that's to kill that noise, and also the German stuff to kill that noise. All right, now, lastly. It is also clear that those who are feeding to the government are corporations. I already showed that. I read that, right? And that is where their acts and their failures to act fall into being unconstitutional. The Ninth Amendment brings you to the diversity of citizenship, Article 3. Read it. There's a diversity of citizenship. That means that a municipal court can't hear something they call a criminal matter. Or hear it from you because they're municipal, and that means they're corporate employees. That's what it's for, and members. It's not for nationals. So, like that. But anyway, and then it says the 11th Amendment, which is what they tried. Well, the 10th Amendment basically says the Constitution is the yellow line in the road describing the lane that everybody really must stay in, and it's your job to keep them in. And the 11th Amendment is where they're trying to say the 11th Amendment never gave powers or judicial equality to corporations, but that's what they're trying to tell you. Well, we're pushing the 11th Amendment, and we're like the same as the Title 49 thing. Oh, okay. No, they can't. They don't want poverty with real. So I say this: ignorance, involuntary ignorance is that which does not proceed from choice and which cannot be overcome by the use of any means of knowledge because you don't have it. Knowledge known to a person and within his own power, as the ignorance of a law, for instance, which has not been promulgated. Key. Oh, well, that's the law. You have to do it that way. Would you show that to me? If it's not promulgated, published, if it's been go to the processes that it was mentioned, which is in the Constitution. It shows you how it's done. And if we're in Senate, ain't nothing going down no matter who vetoes it. And we've been there since 1861. Thank you. I always say 3, but it's 1. So there's no law. And even if there were laws, the only thing they can do is enforce them, which is what I said to you earlier. Enforce it, babe. You're the law. So, obey the law. Right? Obey. There he is. The law. There you go. There's a bay. There's the bay. The law. That's right. That's what you. Now listen. If they don't, you can't know that it exists. Voluntary ignorance is when you know and you volunteer to ignore. So guess what? It doesn't matter whether it's voluntary or involuntary. Ignorance of the law doesn't exist. It's no excuse. And then I read that to you. So lastly, and this is it. I'm done. Why do you not need precedent? You know, people say, we need to have some precedents for Moors. What do you mean? It's the law already. What do you mean you need to have some precedents? What are you out there trying to prove something? No, you're supposed to be standing and living in who you are and knowing this already. But there's a lot of people out there trying to prove something. Going to go toe-to-toe with the magistrate. He ain't even a law. The magistrate ain't even a law. He's not a law enforcer. He's not a law official. But you want to come in and play with them, and they going to play. Because they know that you must be crazy. This is serious business. What you need to be doing is enforcing the law. Sternly. And then that, if you need to bring some people in, to stand quietly, circle around your passion around your circle, circle around your passion, square up your conduct, and speak intelligently or don't speak at all. Then, but not no, look what I did and all that. No. When we express to you you can express your experience to someone. That's why the prophet said, you'll gain it back, but it'll be in a conflict that can't even be told in words, because after you've experienced it, now you're trying to tell me about it. Yeah, it already happened. You go, oh, what happened? It just happened, man. I just said this, and next thing I know, it was done, right? These things happen because that's the experience that can't be expressed in words. Now you want to come and try to express it to the N-word. But this person can't understand what you just went through if they weren't there and didn't see it, nor did they feel it. You know what I'm saying? So it becomes a bunch of talk. That's how it becomes. You have to be who you say you are. All right? All right. Now, some sit back, and I'm closing on this one, and wait for others to do it first, and in regards to exercising rights that are bestowed at birth. We just showed that. So they can see how it all turns out and if it all works, right? However, it is already done. It is done. It is finished. It's done already. International maxims, res judicata, and case laws, which is also the totem pole, by the way, because without them, it's still what it is, already exist. You looking for precedent when the precedent is the law that already is. That's the problem. I'm gonna put my stuff on the map. Okay, hold on. So, res judicata and international maximum, res judicata and case laws already exist. It is you that must have the spirit of law within you and have it on your dial plate, able to dial it up. I said at a moment's notice, I started to say with or without notice, which means that's what a moment's notice means. I didn't get them notice for 30 days and say right now, dial it up right now, out of the mouth, confess it, know it, be it, speak it, live it, breathe it. It will shine from you because it's from within anyway. That's why it was put in written form, because it's divine law is so magnanimous, if I will, that it really can't be written down, that the spirit of it is what the Constitution holds within it, that if you enforce it, it will keep others from molesting you. And let's face it, don't tell me, well, you know they're doing it anyway. You ain't never enforced it.
That's how you stagnate when they doing it anyway.
No, there's a lazy people who don't want to take the step. There's the people who don't really want to take the step when they say that. Because if we didn't do it, I'm telling you, and the prophet said it, it will be a breakfast fight.
Right.
How can you know that it's true if you ain't done it yet? Well, I went in there and I told them, you went in there and you didn't have the spirit of law with you. And you think it's going to work? Or quote-unquote work? No. Hold on, let me read the last thing. Then at that time, it becomes work. When you can dial it up in a moment's notice, dial plate. That's what dial plate means. You got that on your dial plate? What does that mean? I mean, I can dial it right up. Then it becomes work, the investment of study time, and becomes what is inherently transferred to your children. Inheritance transferred to your children. Consider it as a reserving and a preserving of your rights and the rights of your family, as that is what posterity means for your children, the most remote of posterity, right? All right? Forevermore disseminated by the balancing scales of labor, Maya, mother, father, Islam. I'm done. I hope you enjoyed that. Everything. Did you have a comment? No. Anybody else have a question or comment? Yes. The giveaways, yeah.
What I was mentioning was the fact that, like a lot of Native Americans, or like so-called Native Americans, or like the American Indians, went to our reservation, but said that they came over here during the last cycle, assuming, in fact, they're actually the same Spaniards that came over here, because the Spaniards that came over here,
that's right,
like fair skin,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It was rough too, but spots over there.
Mm-hmm.
So in actuality, they're showing you who they are.
They are showing.
How they flip the script on it.
They're showing you all the time, but it's because we haven't taken our place, not their place, amongst the affairs of man. And we don't know anything about our own illustrious history. And we don't tell our story of our history, our heritage and history, right? This is the reason why it's missing. But what are we going to do? How are we going to say, well, I think that your school should put my history. No, like, wake up. They're not going to tell the story right because they don't have it to tell.
They don't have a history.
They are the ones who have no ancestral history because they are not ancient. So now they're trying to steal what? The Indian stuff.
Right.
Well, guess what? We weren't Indians. We ain't Indians anyway. As a matter of fact, you can have that. Because I recall the native people calling you a paleface. I think that is you. I know it is. Islam. Yes, little sister, I got you, brother. Yes, little sister. Lucy is the oldest bones that they have found, and it's It's what? The talk about. I'm sorry.
The oldest bones that they talk about.
Oh, the oldest bones that they talk about that they find, archaeologists when they dig up bones, that the person who's here the longest time, we found the bones. Well, it's of a Moabite like you, look like you and I. It's of us. And so they named her Lucy because Lucy means the lucid light, the light bearer. I'm going to give you a pack of this and maybe your mom will show you. And if you give me your email, I'll send her one in color. Well, actually, I think it's on the site. But would you do that? I'll be over at the books in a minute. Anybody here for the first time today? Oh, did I bring enough? Did I bring enough? 1, 2. Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I might be a few short. Something, huh? But I usually have at least 10 because that's the average. Can I share one with you and your daughter? Women and sisters first. Oh, who you got, Ms. Rogers? Here you go. Sisters first is a sister over there. There's only like 5 or 6 here. I got to check my bag. I might have something. If you don't get one, come to the books and I'll give you something. Or next week, if you're here, I'll give it. But now, right here, these two, they're two. So give it to them if you can share that with you together. All right. And did you have your hand up?
Yes.
Your brother right here in the front. He had one last week. He's okay. Is that the proclamation? The person, the being that you need to see about having proclamation, signs, sealed, and witness, or whatever, have the people here witness them, and the sister Ida does that. If you are interested in a card, national, a LODU, identification card, which is a lawful claim that can't be beat, you can see Carmen up front. She has them. You look familiar. Was that last week? You know what? You did look familiar, but I thought it was last week. You don't want to say what you did on your appellation or quote name. That's something you put superior. I changed my name to, and I went to I first name that I yeah. Oh, I remember. And I'm just back again. But this time I didn't report. You did what? She told you. It's a she. I ain't saying the brothers can't be behind the organization, but the truth is, it's the sisters that are, which is why the sisters need to step up to the plate so we can organize our nation, because organization means organize the nation. And she's the nation. She's not conservative if it ain't right. One thing we are is we come from the great. I know that, bro. I'm not even arguing about it. I know. and do it the correct way, because that's all that it is. That's why people go to school. You learn to write, you learn to read, you learn to do this. You graduate from third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, whatever like that. Because if you can't graduate, if you don't know you can't graduate, our problem is that we haven't graduated without knowing. And that's another thing. Some people say that, look, check this out, that, we're giving a lot of information. Like we should be at fault for people doing stupid stuff. And see, this is the problem. This is why it was in, I'm like, what? Yeah, no, that whole thing has to be disappeared. Lastly, there was a question raised back here. Yeah, well, how you doing? It's good to see you. If you want to come up front a little closer so that, yeah. You have some?
Of what they know about that. And it's an example of a Moor that had. It's an example of a Moor that had gone to court, and he had claimed the land that the house was on. Mm-hmm. The land was in his wife's name, but he made the claim, so she didn't deny the claim. So now they go to court. He said, "Don't worry about it. You ain't got to go. I'm going." So when they went there, they said, "Well, who are you?" He says, "Well, I'm the heir apparent, with the lawful claim to the land." So when that happened, he said, "Well, who are they?" So that was the lawyers on the other side. So the magistrate said, "Well, who are you?" So they said who they were, and then she said, she came back to him and she said to the Moor, "Well, what's on the land?" He said, "The land's abandoned." Now, if you know what abandoned means, it also means there's no paperwork on it. They don't have a note on it. There's nothing, no claim from them on it. But, some people might think it means that there's nobody that's living there. So, but she knew, and then she looked at them, and they didn't say anything. So this was, an unconscious Asiatic who was the magistrate. So when they didn't say anything, she looked back at him and said, "Well, if there's nothing on the land, I don't have any jurisdiction." No big hurrah for that. It's just basically she said if they don't have any paperwork on it, and what happens really is the paperwork is on what they put on the land. So they put stuff on our inheritance, and then they make a claim on what they put on there, but they never claim the land. And I think I told this story, but a lot of y'all might not have been there. There's another brother that, young brother, he's a steel worker. And he bought a house by his mother in South Carolina. And, he looks like he's about 15, but he makes plenty of money. No children or anything. And he's talking to the lawyer. And the lawyer says, "Well, based upon the amount of money that you make, you should never lose this house." So he said, "But if a Native American comes and claims the land, you got to get that land up in that house, but you can go to the bank and get your money back." See, so this is just two examples of them knowing who we are, and that law is already in place for us to make the claims. But if we don't know the law and we don't know who we are, then you're not going to even think about making the claim, because they're doing so much out here that they have terrorized us to the point where we won't do anything. So we're living in a terror state, and we have to come out of that to make those claims, because the more of us that do it, the less time we'll see these things happening. But this is another reason why they're, shooting us down in one sense, because they want to keep that terror. In other words, if I think you're doing something wrong, okay, I'm going to shoot you down, because they want us to never claim what's ours.
See, that's it. That's it. So we have to do what? Take our place amongst the affairs of man. Can we say that again in unison? Take our place amongst the affairs of man. Islam. Can you please give up our invocation out, brother? Thank you. Oh, and then don't move, because I got to hand these out to you. After that, no, you do that first, because we got to close out.
Islam. I think we should give this
Amen. Peace and love.